Okay, so we're going to complete the attaching of the collar.
So the collar is sewn separately. So because we've already got this corner sewn in here, the under collar sewn to the outer garment, it's sort of already set us up for where we start on the other side. But again, we're not sewing through any of the seam allowances. We have to make sure that we line up those 2 points and we start there. So you've got a very definite starting point there. Just make sure that, like it lines up properly here. And then again, we're going to work to the corner, going to turn the corner and work our way around.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said before, you can put a pin in there if you like, but sometimes it's easier just to manipulate when you get it under the foot. So I'm just checking that I've got it lined up in the right position before I put it under the foot. Put the needle down at that point, and you can do your back tack there. And remember, like, not to, just like a 1-stitch back tack. Don't go crazy, otherwise you'll sew back onto the place where you're not supposed to be sewing. So just pull this up, and you can give it a little bit of a pull so that you get it into the corner here. Remember that you've got your 6mm seam allowances, so don't go bigger than the 6mm. Once you get to the corner, twist the fabric around. You've got a notch there, so the shoulder notch to have in your collar, match that up. Now this will get a little bit tricky because there's not really a lot of give in your top collar because it's interfaced, and it's cut on a straight grain, but the back neck goes onto the bias a little bit. You could have a little bit of give in there, so just make sure that you match up the centre back. So the centre back is where the pleat folds to, so that matches up with the notch on the collar there. And if you like, you can put a pin in there to hold it, and you can see there's a tiny bit of excess there. So just sort of keep the like, don't pull the lining this way. If anything, sort of just push it under the foot a little bit till you get to the centre back. And then the same with this next section. Actually, this is working out quite well. So match up you've got the notch in the collar there. Match that up with the shoulder seam. Go to that point, and then into the corner. You position the needle if you need to, and then once you turn the corner, you can do a couple of stitches, but then you need to organise where you're headed. So again, pull all of the seam allowances out of the way, and you've got your definite points there that you need to match up. So check that, you'll see that point there and the end there. Make sure they're all lined up, and sew to that point.
Great.
Okay, cool. All right, so now here's the tricky bit. Now I'll turn it through just so that we can see where we've got to, but then we'll have to turn it back through again to give it a press. So you can see here that so what we've done is we've sewn the collar in, now corners there, but this is actually it's all separated, okay? So what we're going to do now is turn it back around again. You can see it on both sides as our complete collar. Turn it through again, and we'll just press open. We need to press open the seams here. Now the pressing that we're doing, we have our corner here of our lapel, and the collar corner is in there. And the only pressing that we're doing here is this seam needs to be opened up. So it's literally the seam where the collar joins in up to this corner here. We're just pressing that open. We don't have to worry about pressing this neckline open because we're going to sew those 2 layers together. So we'll just go to the iron and we'll get this quick press. And I'm thinking that might be a good idea to actually do this on the sleeve board because we've just got this. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Little section to do. So if we do it on the sleeve board, we've got a bit more. It's a bit easier to manipulate. So just this tiny bit here that we're pressing open. there's that bit, and then twist it around, and the same on the facing and under collar side. So just pressing this seam open as well. And the reason we're pressing this open is because, like, once this is turned through, this seam, you know, actually goes, it goes in different directions. So it's, you get a sharper finish. Twisting around, just doing the same on the other side. So, here. So here again there's a lapel bit, so we're just opening this bit from here to here. And same on the other side. Just be careful with the iron that you don't burn your fingers. Cool, that's together. Okay, so we'll just flip this through. And we just need to get this collar sorted here. So there we go. So there's our lapel. And see, this is the reason we press this open, because this seam allowance wants to go down and this seam allowance goes up. So it gives us a really nice sharp lapel. Okay.
Lovely.
And then so we just need to, before we get in there, so it will just, we can just give this a light press from the outside. And in the cotton drill, like, don't go too crazy with your pressing, because it'll actually go, the fabric will start going shiny.
Great.
Now we'll just go back inside before the video finishes. What we're going to do now is, so there's these two corners, so you can see this is the collar, this outer seam of the collar, this is the neck edge. What we need to do is pull the collar edges together. So again, like, we're matching up all our centre back points, and you can put a pin in there, pull those two layers together, or all those layers together, and then from this corner here, we're just going to, all we're going to do is stitch the neckline together. And it doesn't, it's just within the seam allowance, it doesn't have to be on the stitch line. It's literally just to hold these layers together. And make sure that you don't sew through your lining underneath. I've just turned it over, and it turns out that I have actually caught my lining, so I'll unpick that and I'll get back to you in a minute.
Okay, so Mark's just unpicked that tiny bit.
So you can see there where it was folded up like this, and I sewed it on the other side, so I've just unpicked that. So I just have to re-sew this bit, so now I'm double checking. And it's just, I don't have to unpick the whole thing, I just have to re-sew this bit here. So one thing about making mistakes is that next time you double check so you don't do it again. And you can also see here too, see these little, where it started to fray. So because you only have a 6mm seam allowance around the neck, you do have to be quite careful that, you know, that you don't wear the fabric down, and so that it actually starts to fray, you know, too much. So I've just, you know, like got mine past the fraying there. So I was quite lucky in that regard. So now secure the neck. So when you turn it through, like you can see now, here's our collar. So we've got our shoulder seams here,
Lovely.
our back pleat, and the reason that we had to sew, then that was the line that we sewed together. It's literally so that this is actually secure. So
Yeah.
before we did that row of stitching, this would actually go out flat, and when you
Yep.
put the jacket on, it wouldn't actually sit secure around your neck. So that's what that row of stitching is for.
Great.
Okay, so now we'll insert some shoulder pads.